So the first question that I'd like to ask you is that you mentioned in your presentation the importance of facilities managers understanding productivity in the workplace,
Yes.
that sort of thing. And I guess it's a question is, as a profession, how well do you think that they do understand the impact that their job has on productivity?
I think they understand that their job has a big impact on productivity. I just think that they really don't have the tools to be able to implement the sort of the changes which might help productivity.
Right.
For example, most of the pressure on a facility manager is about reducing facilities costs.
Yeah.
Right. And the majority of the time that actually happens, it can have a worse effect on productivity. So I think they're aware, but I just don't think they have maybe the tools to be able to make changes or influence office design like they should, and to recognise, to help productivity.
Okay. Yeah, and that's interesting too, because it's having the tools to justify costs on the one hand.
Yeah.
But I also think that there's that other very difficult to quantify element of well-being too.
No, right, okay.
Yeah.
I think if you look back in the presentation, that sort of 40, 50 years of research has given us lots of ideas that better working environment, whether it be the sort of the air conditioning, the lighting, the acoustics, for example, can help productivity. The actual detail of that, I don't think, is available. I think if that's what you're getting to.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
So, whilst I think the facility manager recognises generally a better environment helps the business, the detail of that is not very clear. So, sorry about that.
No, that's true too. That's actually true. That's been said. It's sort of it's about the research, perhaps.
Yes.
Having that dedicated research to the. Yes.
I think so. I think also that over the last few years there's been quite a lot of changes to the way we work. Obviously.
Yeah.
A lot of that early research was focused on the individual, and in particular cellular type approach to offices.
Yeah.
We've kind of moved into this open plan office. I don't think without the proper research to underpin what constitutes a good open plan office, and maybe in terms of, we all know one of the complaints is noise. And obviously I think I raised the sort of the individual, the team efforts, and the social efforts. So this is the area where I think we need to be moving. So that's what I think we need to focus on.
That's very good. That's interesting. And also in your presentation you mentioned the 3 different levels.
Yes.
And level 3 you bring up acoustics, and that also includes the air quality and other elements. And do you think that acoustics is something that's considered on par with the others, generally speaking, from a facilities management perspective?
I think acoustics is very important. I think it is up there with quality of air, lighting, environment. I mean, we've all been there, haven't we? We worked in an office and it's noisy, and you want a bit of personal time to do some thinking, and it just doesn't happen. Or likewise, you're in an office that is well acoustic, maybe overly acoustically, and you want some social time, and that doesn't happen either, or team time. So I think it's a very important factor, I think, in office productivity. What percentage is it gives us? I mean, some of the research I think I've picked up over the last few years has indicated, depending on the actual task being done, can be anywhere between sort of 5, 10, 15%. But I think it depends on the particular task that's being done. So I think it's very important.
And as far as responsibility for looking at acoustics, and addressing these issues, where do you think that lies?
I think that's with the facility manager.
Really?
I mean, I think the facility manager needs to be aware of the type of work that's done in the office. Needs to be speaking to the people in the office, identifying the good things and maybe the not so good things. And maybe one of these things is it's too noisy, maybe it's too quiet. So I think it's the facility manager. The question then is how the facility manager implements the changes that are required. Because you can't change things usually without funding approval, a good sound business case, an economic argument. So that's the other challenge that's got. So it's identifying the problem's one thing, but then actually doing something about it or being able to do something about it. Because the board that makes the decision to fund the investment isn't going to fund an investment unless he thinks there's some sort of return on back for that investment.
Definitely. Yeah, that's excellent.
And that's where we kind of fall over, I think.
Okay.
Knowing it's broken is one thing, but then getting the money to fix it is another challenge.
Yeah. And it's building that case, isn't it? Because everything is a business case, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And now I sit on a board, you see, I see it from both sides. So having been a facility manager and having that plea for money, I now sit on the other side of the fence, and I'm sort of going, well, demonstrate that this is actually bringing benefits to the business.
Sure.
Now, how do you quantify that acoustic or better air conditioning or better lighting actually helps the business?
We're trying.
It is. Where's the documented evidence?
Yeah.
Where's the toolkit for the facility manager to use?
And one last question on this, on the acoustics is, acoustics can be quite a complicated area.
Right.
And I know that where to go to find the right kind of information can be difficult. And do you think this is something that facilities managers, that there's enough information out there and enough access to training and that sort of thing?
Well, I mean, I'm not an expert on acoustics myself, which is maybe the point here.
That's all right.
So maybe, does a facility manager really understand acoustics? Probably not. So what he probably needs to do is seek support from companies that have the expertise. That can help him to identify what the problems are. I mean, it's probably a very complicated area. I doubt many facility managers would really understand, other than it's too noisy or it's too quiet.
Right, okay.
So what changes to make it? So I think, obviously needing to seek the advice is one thing, and then implement the changes is the other thing.
Excellent.